WCLN 1170 Radio and Star Communications Channel 16 proudly present the We Should Know Show, an upbeat, informative look at people, places, and issues facing our community. This education-based analysis of issues will remain positive and informative. Now, here's your host, J.W. Simmons, as we consider closely what we should know.
Welcome back. We Should Know is on the air. My name is J.W. Simmons. I'm your host. The name of the show is We Should Know. Each and every week we bring to you information, hopefully is informative and educational, that may help you in some way in your life or maybe give you some information that inspires you. Certainly we hope the show today covers all of those areas. Our guest is Sherry Matthews. Sherry Matthews and the Sampson Independent are synonymous. We have known that for years, Sherry. And one of the things I wanted to mention to folks, and a lot of folks probably know this, but maybe there's somebody out there don't. You are originally a native from Sampson County. So right. This is the old saying goes, your geographical home.
That is correct.
And Sherry, you are the winner of a number of Press Association awards. In fact, for editorials and general news reporting, 3 of those right here in North Carolina. And the recipient of 5 North Carolina Bell Awards for Excellence in Education Reporting. Also a 2001 North Carolina Distinguished Women of Nominee of the Year. So I just love looking at these things because I've known you for a long time and a lot of folks out there have as well, but they may not know the depth of Sherry Matthews. And certainly you've done that. You've been a reporter, managing editor, city editor, editor, general manager, publisher, editor. I think you're the GM now. I'm not sure. Is that
publisher now? Is what I think. I answer to any of those.
But basically, in all of those papers that you've worked with, to include the Georgetown Times in South Carolina, to North Carolina newspapers, Laurinburg, Wilson, Sampson Independent, you got over 25 years just in those kinds of things. Plus I think you probably got 35 plus years minus
31
in media.
35 in media. Yes. Yeah. I started the News Journal in Rayford.
I feel compelled to ask the obvious question here. Where was the inspiration? When did you know journalism was going to be your life?
Honestly, JW, I think I've always wanted to do that. All I've ever wanted to do was write and tell other people's stories. I mean, I think I've known that since probably 7th, 8th grade. And I love to write. Cynthia Shell was my 8th grade teacher. Susan Nance was my English teacher in high school. And wow. I know you know both those.
Oh, names. Absolutely.
And they just inspired me that much more to want to write. And they encouraged my writing. And that's really all I've ever wanted to do. And newspapers were the logical next step. When I was in college at UNC Wilmington, I interned at WWAY TV. And I enjoyed that, but I just didn't like it as much as the newspaper writing. You can do more in-depth stories. You can take longer to vet things. And that's what I did.
It's interesting to me because you mentioned Susan. As you know, I've known her for a long time. And she continues to be an inspiration to me because we've had so many talks when we were both working at the college together. So when I look at this career path, we want to talk a bit today about, because this is as I'm reflecting here, and I want you to help us kind of understand this. This is over 100 years. That's right. The Sampson Independent has been operational from 1924. But even before that, there was other newspapers. Take us back to that time and walk us up through the generations and what's happened with the Sampson Independent and the ownership and how it has morphed into more, but yet still focused on local issues.
Sure. We actually are 134 years old if you count when were formed out of the Democrat, the Sampson Democrat, and the News Dispatch. Both of those papers were founded somewhere around 1892.
Late 1800s.
By W.A. Johnson.
Yep.
And in 1924, which you referenced, Mr. Castile, W.W. Castile, I believe was his name.
Correct.
He bought and merged the two papers to become the Sampson Independent. And now for a little while, if you recall, and this was when I was in high school, but there were two papers. It was the Sampson Independent and the Sampsonian.
Yep.
And then those two papers merged in the late 70s, and then it became the Sampson Independent. It's been that ever since. And through that time, you know, I can list names like Tim Howard's grandparents. I can talk about Jim Parker and his long time career as the publisher of the Sampson Independent, Claire Brisson, Fred Burgess, Tom Weaver. Tom's wife Lois was there for a while, and his son Jeff. All were there at some point in time. We've been owned by families and corporations throughout all of that history. When I came to the Sampson Independent in the early 90s, I came back from Wilson. I came back because I wanted to get closer to my parents and come home. And I took a job as a reporter for the first 6 months. And then I was promoted to editor. And at that point, Debbie Chiarella was the publisher and the ad director. And then after she retired, they hired Sandy Hurley and Jules Melinda. And I remained the editor. I was the editor from 94 until 2014. And then they made me general manager in 2014. And then 2 years later, they added ad director to that.
Correct.
And then when the Champion family, Scott and Corey Champion, bought it back in 2017, I believe it was.
This is a North Carolina family.
North Carolina family. They are North Carolina based out of Mooresville, North Carolina, up near Charlotte. And they purchased us, and we've been family owned ever since.
It's been a journey when you look at it, and you highlighted some of perfect, highlighting some of the key features. That gave you an opportunity not only to express yourself, but also to highlight some of the key important issues that were going on at that time. Now, just so folks will know, they can go online and pull it up on YouTube, but you've been on this show before, so
yes, that's right.
You're not a newcomer to it. So the last time you were on this show, we talked about a novel that you were working on. We also talked about that novel had moved to a TV movie called Tarnished Notes.
That's correct.
And it was a tragedy that occurred right here in Clinton. Let's, if you don't mind, let's just kind of reflect on that for a moment. That's something, and we just talked about it off air for a bit, but that's something that you're still working on tying the bow on, if you will, is that novel.
That's correct.
And of course, I will admit this in public, I've been encouraging you to go ahead and finish that 2 or 3 pages and put a preface in it. But that was really something that was a momentous occasion, not only here, but regionally and statewide. Folks saw that on the media and went, "Oh my God," because it involved one of our wonderful local churches.
That's true. That all happened back in 1984 when the actual murder occurred. And through my involvement at the newspaper, now I was in Wilson at the time that the trial happened, and this is the Dan Arnold case. And I was a crime reporter in Wilson at the time, so I was fascinated by murder and
that was
crimes,
right your channel,
right up my alley.
Yeah.
So I came home. I took a week off work and came home and sat in on the trial, which was fascinating and which had brought people from all over, not just North Carolina, but across the country to watch this trial. And I was so fascinated by it. But when I came back to Clinton and I started at the newspaper here was the time when Carl Stuffel, who had been charged and found guilty, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. He had come up for parole, and I was able, through my contacts through the newspaper, to get in touch with the daughter of Dan and Donna Arnold. And we did an interview, or I did a 7-part series back in the 90s with her about her recollections of that murder. And that was fascinating. And she did it because we were trying to, at that time, prevent Mr. Stuffel from getting out on parole. Because Dana did not feel like he had served enough time for the murder of her father. And so we did those recollections, and she went before the parole commission and testified and those kind of things. And it was from that interview and that series that I decided to do the book. And then once we started with that and talking to Dana, and she was very much in favor of doing it, we got the rights to her story, or I did, and got the court transcripts from back in the 1980s. And we put the book together, started the book and started putting that together. And then the folks out of New York contacted me and said, let's make it a movie. So I stopped writing the book to work on the screenplay.
Wow.
And that's kind of how that evolved.
It's fascinating to me, and the title of that book is Hymn of Commitment.
Hymn, H-Y-M-N.
Yes. And it's one of those things that it's, I guess you could put it like it's an analytical review, but at the same time, it's something that is almost designed, as it were, for a movie. I mean, it just fell right into place.
That is very true. It's
and
like so many of those murders.
Yeah, and it fell into your reporting at the time in your journey. It fell into your reporting genre because you were dealing with criminality, you were dealing with crime, and so there was no way you could not write this.
Oh, true. And back to what I said earlier about why I got into the newspaper business in the beginning was being a voice, telling somebody else's stories. And doing so was giving voice to Dana Arnold, who was only 5, 6 years old when this happened. And she had never had a voice in what happened to her father. So being able to do those interviews gave her a voice and did what I believe is so important for the newspaper to do, which is give voice to the voices. That's what your local newspapers, really any newspaper, is supposed to do.
Absolutely. And I want to get into that. We're going to take a break and kind of cover some of these, what I call intricacies that the newspaper does and the things that people don't understand that maybe you can help us better understand of the importance of a local newspaper. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment. I'm talking with Sherry Matthews, and I hope you'll call a friend right now. Tell them to tune in. We'll be on the air for the next probably 40, 45 minutes. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment.
Looking to refresh your home? At Clinton Appliance and Furniture, we've got everything you need to create the perfect space. We're here to help make your house a home with stylish furniture, appliances, flooring, design services, delivery, and repair. Visit ClintonAppliance.com to explore our selection or visit us at 401 Northeast Boulevard in Clinton. Shop local. Shop smart. Shop Clinton Appliance and Furniture.
Experiencing slow internet? If you have a fast internet package, the problem is most likely your wireless router. With more devices using Wi-Fi, your wireless router may not be able to deliver the speed and coverage you need. We now have the leading solution to enhance your internet experience. Using small devices in a mesh network, these Wi-Fi appliances cover just about any size home so that all your devices can operate to their fullest potential. Whole home Wi-Fi from Star Communications. Get the most out of your internet connection.
At Fisher's, it's not just about fashion. It's about exceptional service. Experience top-notch customer care and find your perfect look. Visit Fisher's today and feel the difference.
At the Reedy Mark, we take pride in a unique, distinguished customer experience. We specialize in handcrafted cocktails, allocated bourbons, as well as gourmet signature food items exclusive to our menu at the Reedy Mark in Roseboro.
The average American household has 17 devices connected to the internet. With more and more devices able to get online, you may need to increase your internet speed. Call Star Communications today and let us help you select the package that's right for you.
Independence is priceless, but peace of mind makes it possible. With Star Alert, your loved ones stay connected and protected 24/7. With just the simple press of a button, their information and location are sent to emergency operators. Star Alert gives you or your loved one immediate access to emergency help at home or on the go. Sign up during the month of August and get free installation. Call 800-706-6538 or visit starcom.net to get started.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We Should Know's on there. I'm J.W. Simmons, your host. We're coming to you on Star Communications TV. Also, we're simulcast on WCLN Radio on Tuesdays at 2:30 each and every Tuesday. New show replays at 7 p.m. on Star Communications TV Channel 16. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Our guest today is Sherry Matthews. Sherry, you the person, I'm going to leave a title off. I'm just going to say you're the person in charge at Sampson Independent.
Something like, I said chief cook, bottle washer.
There you go, whatever it takes. And you are that because you've pretty much been through the chief, bottle washer, cook, and all those kind of jobs.
I've done a little bit of it all.
One of the things that impressed me was this is a recent article from the newspaper that you manage, and this is your quote, so hold on to your chair.
Uh-oh.
But it really struck where I'm looking at here and where I'm feeling we need to go. And this is a result of the whole, I guess, the whole look at the newspaper, but in the process of you hiring a new person. Mm-hmm. I'll let you get into that if you want to talk about her. But in this quote, you make this statement: "We take our roles very seriously," you said. "We are following in the footsteps of some of great journalists, people like," and you've mentioned some of these already, Jim Parker, Tom Weaver, Fred Burgess, Claire Brisson, all whom believed in the community and worked tirelessly to promote every day. And you said, "I love this community and believe in what we do with all of my heart." Sherry, you just in that quote, I had to read it because that says what I've always known you for.
Thank you. Thank you. And I meant every word of that. First of all, as I told you, I'm from this community, and people may agree or disagree with me over time about any editorial we might do, but I don't think anybody could ever say that I don't love this community. I love it with all my heart. I love being a part of this community. I love supporting local businesses, as you well know, mm-hmm. of which people need to understand we are one. Mm-hmm. The Sampson Independent is a local business, mm-hmm. just like Clinton Appliance, just like some of your others. Mm-hmm. They are local. We are local businesses just like they are. But more importantly, because we're the newspaper, we have a unique advantage to being able to pull a community together, to be the voice for that community, to be its eyes and ears, and to help this community get stronger, shoring it up, being its foundation. And, newspapers are all about democracy. Mm-hmm. And when the founding fathers had the First Amendment rights and the rights of newspapers, that was part of it. Mm-hmm. And what the local newspaper does for a community is unbelievable. And I believe in every bit of that. I believe you have to be the voice for the voiceless. You have to hold government accountable, mm-hmm. its leaders accountable. Mm-hmm. You have to be there to tell the stories of people, the cancer victims who are having fundraisers. Mm-hmm. Whatever that happens to be, the schools. You tell all the good news stories about the schools. You can't overlook the negative, but you temper it with all the positive. For every one negative that might happen in a school, there's 25,000 good news stories. And that's what we're there to do, is paint the picture, a real picture of what our community is all about.
And I think for a lot of folks, and this is something that's always just been refreshing for me, the paper that you work with, the paper that you now manage, has never been, at least in my opinion, because I knew all of these folks that you're talking
sure.
about. I remember them very vividly and having conversations with them. But I look back at it and I'm thinking it's about that information. It's about that piece of trying to nurture and grow. But there are folks that feel like sometimes that they're being picked on or contrarily added pressure to. And you've never had that in your heart in any way.
Oh, no. No, you don't go out to attack somebody. You're not looking to do that. You're looking to just tell the story. We used to do career days. You may remember
Absolutely.
All the high schools did career
Sure.
days, and I would go out and talk to the students, and I would tell them, because probably one of the worst things about my job is the crime reports that you mm-hmm. have to do. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times you'll end up putting a report in there about a young person who's gotten a DWI mm-hmm. or something else of that nature. And people get very upset when that happens. And I try to tell those young people, understand it's not the newspaper's fault.
Correct.
It's your fault if you make the choice to go out and drink and get behind the wheel and get caught for doing this.
Amen.
So it's all about choices. You know, every choice you make comes with a consequence, good or bad. And we're just reporting the news. We're not making it up, and we're not doing it to hurt anybody. We're just reporting the news. Some people would say, well, why even do the crime reports? Businesses will tell you that they utilize them a lot to know what's going on in the community, if there's break-ins, if there's things of that nature going on. People in those communities will tell you that they look at it for those very same reasons. But it also is part of what happens in a community. If you don't use it, you paint an unrealistic portrait of what your community's like. It's not all positive.
Right.
And it's not all negative.
Right.
It's just part of what happens in any community.
When you look at the job and you look back at all those years, of course, we're talking about now, you know, looking back even to, as you pointed out a while ago, in the late 1900s, obviously a lot's changed. Obviously a lot's changed in the way media is delivered. A lot's changed in many areas related to media. But this conversation that we're having right now, this piece of it, seems to lead me to maybe move to that area, the challenges you're facing now with delivering, quote, the newspaper. I know a lot of folks, I'm sure, is aware you have an online product now. Right. You can go to the newspaper, you know, I can take my phone out, I can look up something on my phone or whatever. It's all there. But still, there are those of us that like to pick up something and see the written word, so to speak. Sure. I tell people sometimes I read books all the time and they go, why do you get all those books? Just go, you can listen to it. There are folks that, and I get it. I mean, sometimes I do, but I still feel something refreshing about the tangibility.
You want to hold it in your hand.
Yes. Do you see that going away at some point in time?
You know, I don't think so. Now, some people tell me I'm not being realistic about that, and maybe I'm being overly hopeful, but not everybody is going to, when they get my age or your age, they're not going to want to read it on their phone anymore. They're going to want to go back to holding it in their hand.
Because we hadn't been encultured with that device.
No. But more than that, you have to have those platforms, JW, as you well know. I mean, we have a very diverse population in Sampson County who read and get their news various ways.
Correct.
The online version is not always like the print version. Some of the things that are online are synopsis of a story, not the full story. So the full stories are usually reserved for the news edition, the print edition, because that's subscriber based. People pay to read that newspaper. The online version is not. Now the e-edition, which is the digital edition of the actual physically held paper, is subscriber based also. And then you have social media where we basically use that to promote or tease what's going on. We don't put stories there at all. But you have all those different versions that you have to accommodate because of your diverse population and the way they read and the way they take in their news.
When you look back at this journey with the Sampson Independent and delivering information, delivering news, making sure the currency of all that's correct, are we at a juncture now with media and not just newspaper media, but even network news and those kinds of things? I see a huge challenge, and talking with some of those folks that's in network news, it's like their challenge is not only making sure they're current, but making sure they're accurate, making sure, and this is the piece that's a word that I'm trying to find another word for, but it's almost like sensationalized or entertained rather than being informed. You grew up in an environment, I grew up in an environment when if you've informed somebody, you'd say, sign off, good, we've informed them. Exactly. But it's so much more than that.
It's a lot of different things for a lot of different people. And we could probably spend 2 of your shows talking about network news and how it's changed and all those things. You can talk about that with newspapers or television, whatever you're talking about. I can tell you this, if you're a journalist at heart, a real journalist, you're always going to be about informing the public. not about sensationalizing, not about tailoring a story to meet some specific need of a network or the owner of a company or whatever it happens to be. You're going to be informative and you're going to vet your information. See, that's key that a lot of people don't understand anymore. People don't vet their news. They don't care to look to see if it's been vetted a lot of times. And I think that takes a big chunk out of the information, if that makes any sense. Newspapers, just like network news or anybody else, they're going to vet the information they have. Now, what happens with network news is because of the competition and the breaking news aspect, a lot of times they don't have the time a newspaper has to vet the information, then put it on television. They have to break the news, then go back and correct it as they go.
Absolutely.
Okay. We have, we print certain days. So if something is breaking, we may put a teaser on that says, this is happening. Watch for more information later.
Right.
Then we have the time to go out and vet it, talk to the different people involved, and try to get the full story and not have to put it out there and then correct it.
I think this leads us to a break. And when we come back, I want to kind of continue this process of understanding the Sampson Independent, where it's been, where it is, and start digging into that future that you see.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking with Sherry Matthews with the Sampson Independent newspaper right here in Clinton, North Carolina, that's part of a large organization, but yet community focused, and they have you in mind. So stay tuned, call a friend. We'll be back in a moment.
Welcome to Cork and Brew Roseboro, where you can enjoy your favorite coffee, fraps, smoothies, bakery items, sandwiches, and select beer and wines while reconnecting with friends and family. Sit down and enjoy the experience. Come on by and give us a try.
This year, when you get together with friends, we hope you have a great time. Just remember to drink responsibly and know your limits.
Man, let me have your keys.
And always have a safe way home.
See ya. Later.
Enjoy responsibly and always plan ahead.
Since our inception, we have distributed in food and supplies over $3 million worth out of Salemburg, North Carolina. And people always ask us, what can we do to help? So Norman has got some little slide cards here so we can tell you what we do need and maybe, as importantly, what we don't need.
Absolutely.
So, what we do need is soup. Canned soup, ramen. What we do not need is hair tonic or hairspray. There's only one of us that uses hair tonic, and he has an ample supply. But we do need rice. We distribute rice every month. Bag rice, box rice, yellow rice, white rice, don't make any difference. We need rice all the time. What we don't need is live pigs. If you want to have that pig ready to barbecue, we can use that. But we do need canned vegetables. We'll take corn, beans, any kind of canned vegetables. We distribute about 2,000 cans of vegetables every month. What we don't need is chia pets. Sometimes early in the morning, Norman looks like a chia pet, so we don't need, particularly before he puts his hair tonic on. But we do need peanut butter and jelly. There's a lot of children at home. We use peanut butter and jelly, again, 12 months out of the year. any size jar, any flavored jelly, grape, apple, it don't make any difference. We'll take any of it. We do not need sushi. The fish around here says, please cook me and lard. We don't need sushi. But we do need Pop-Tarts. Children at home, they eat Pop-Tarts. We need Pop-Tarts all the time. We do not need used tires. That may come as a surprise to some folks, but Norman has decided to bring his used tires around his belly. That's where he hauls his all the time. Send checks to the Christian Food Bank of Salemburg, P.O. Box 134, Salemburg, North Carolina, 28385. And Norman has a little note there that says cash is as good as money. So that's how you can help us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. J.W. Simmons here, your host. The name of the show is We Should Know. We're talking with Sherry Matthews. Sherry, thank you for being with us. When folks hear your name, I don't think they really need the title, whether it's general manager, editor, publisher, or whatever. You've done it all.
A little bit.
And you're the person that actually is calling the shots at the Sampson Independent, a local newspaper, but with huge connections, 4 states connected. Multiple counties in North Carolina connected. One article I read, it was like over 4 million people, the company that owns, which is a family-owned company that owns the Sampson Independent, is connected to. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of reach.
It is.
But at the same time, the obvious conversation we've been having is, as long as you're at the helm, it will be focused on the local community in Sampson County.
Well, and honestly, the champions want that as well. They very definitely believe in community newspapers. All of the newspapers they own are community newspapers. And no question, I believe in that. We're hyper-local. You know, nobody can do local news better than your local newspaper.
Amen.
But we don't dabble in national news. We don't usually get involved in editorials that involve national news or state news unless it has some sort of local link, how it impacts us locally, because we're all about this community and trying to share that kind of information. And that means everything from feature stories to covering the things, if your taxes are going to be raised, if a new industry is moving to town, whatever it happens to be, we're just trying to inform the public and let them know. And we hope the public will read this information ahead of time. I'll give you an example. As you well know, the county commissioners had to raise taxes this year.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how many stories and editorials we did prior to them taking the vote or the public hearing. And they had several community meetings where they went to Garland and Newton Grove and different places for folks to come out. And we talked about the possibility of a tax increase. Nobody, probably with the exception of maybe 3 people, had anything to say about the tax increase at the public hearing or in any of those meetings. But once they approved the tax increase, the number of people who responded online with comments about the tax increase were probably 5,000 or 6,000.
Wow.
But it was too late then. You know, that's why the newspaper is important. If people read it and act, they have to get involved. They can't sit back and wait till it's a done deal, because then they have no control over it. And those kind of things happen.
One of the things that you've always been, you've been very open and very communicable in the community. You're involved in, I've been knowing you for a long time in Rotary clubs and civic organizations. And it's easy for folks to reach out to you. I mean, it's not like you're somebody that nobody don't know. And you're more than happy. I've known you for so long, I can almost predict, but if somebody sees you somewhere, if it's a grocery store, wherever, and they ask you something, you're going to stop and take time and listen to what they say. That's what kind of struck me, is what you were just talking about, is that why does folks wait till the last minute to reach out, or wait to the door is closed, so to speak, before they reach out. Is that just part of human nature?
I think it's part of human nature. And as far as my being open and receptive, most of my subscribers have my cell number.
Exactly.
I want them to be able to call me. I want them to tell me what they want to read. I want them to tell me when we've done something wrong. We don't know if they don't tell us. And I want them to call me and say, I read about this proposed tax increase. What should we do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're here to say, go to the meeting, write a letter to the editor, do something that's proactive, and do it before time. So we want that involvement and that communication. I want to know. That's why I'm involved. Well, I'm involved in Rotary and other, the Sampson Regional Medical Center Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on United Way and the Community College Foundation Board, all because I believe that giving back to the community that gives so much to me. They've always given back to me when I was in school. PTO, PTA, you know, the same clubs I'm in now are the ones that gave to our schools when we were growing up, and the newspaper. And those things were part of the community, and they still are, or I hope they will be.
When you look at some of those folks that you mentioned previously that are part of the historical journey of the Sampson Independent, when I look back at that era, I just want to kind of get your observation, and then you compare it to where we are now. What has changed?
Well, when you talk about Fred Burgess and Mr. Weaver, Jim Parker, they had the same beliefs that we do in journalism and informing the public. It was a different environment though than JW, and they got into this business forever. Those people, Jim Parker was at the paper, until he retired. And so was Fred Burgess. And so was Debbie Chiarella. I mean, Tom Weaver. I think Tom he retired from the Independent, but he went to the Federal Observer, I believe.
Yes.
I believe that's right. But
now his son, I think, followed in his footsteps.
Jeff came to the Sampson Independent. This was while I was away, but Jeff was there for a while, and then he went to Whiteville, I believe, and was an editor there for a while. So they all had the same belief I do in being the voice for the voiceless and the watchdog for the community, so to speak. But times have changed from those folks. The dedication is the same, but you have a revolving door a lot of times for staff and things of that nature who don't always get involved in the community the way you want them to. I've been very fortunate recently to hire some folks that really love this community and have become entrenched in it. Abby Kavanaugh is my new editor. Brant Young is my sports editor, and people love him. He's at every single ball game.
How did you get Abby from Duplin County?
Praying a lot.
Well, we could spend a show just talking on a track.
I am so thrilled and happy to have her here. She has the same genuine heart for newspapers that I do. And she's just started writing editorials. And the greatest compliment to me, somebody told me this past week, they read Abby's editorial from Saturday. And they said, you know, when I read it, it was as close to the way you wrote as I've ever seen. And to be compared that way to Abby, who I think is a great writer, is a compliment to me. So
I looked at a little bit about her background, and I was thinking, wow, did they know she was leaving? I mean, it's like,
we
stop. Stop. But that gets back to that point. I think it's where you were headed in your commentary there, is that you look for that talent.
Yeah, you look for the talent. You want people who will come here and invest in the community. Not just invest financially, but invest their heart to be a part of this community, to become the person that folks can call and depend on, and most importantly, trust. That they can trust that what they're telling you is going to be accurate in the paper, that what they tell you, they're going to go out and vet, and they're going to do those things. And when they read something by Anthony Goodman or Brant Young or Abby Kavanaugh, that they know that they can trust that. And that's important. If you can't trust my journalist, then we're not doing our job. And you can't trust them until you get to know them and you build a relationship with them. You see, the newspaper business, in my mind, is all about relationships. All about relationships. And that's why people, as you say, everybody knows me and the Sampson Independent. It's because I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's important to do that. You can't be a part of a newspaper and not be part of the community. Not in my mind.
Yeah. And I think when I look at your background and I look at your journey, it's rich not only in the academic education, a graduate of UNCW,
Right.
but also in the various aspects of the media that you're now in a leadership role in. We're going to take a break here in a moment, but I wanted to kind of stage this because we're coming up on the last part of the show.
Right.
There's a couple of things I wanted to get into, and that is folks that may be listening to this show today, and they may be in college. They may be thinking, well, the job I'm in, I just don't have a passion for it. And they may hear this and well, hopefully they will and say, well, I think I'd like to do that.
That would be great,
Is that something that you want folks to know? And also, when you look at that, is there a too late moment? That is to say, and we'll cover this when we come on next part of the show, hopefully. But is there a moment in time when folks look at it and say, well, I've reached that age, and I mean, you can look at me and know we've known each other a long time, but have I reached that age that maybe I don't have relevance anymore? I certainly understand that. I was talking with some folks that are trying to generate this next generation coming by, and I was trying to explain to them what this show was. Well, of course, they were thinking, well, this is a podcast. Well,
Right.
I had to think, well, I know what a podcast is. This ain't a podcast. But at the same time, their expectation is different, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I think when I look at that, I want to try to get a handle on it and help them understand that. And hopefully that in some way may rejuvenate this whole sincerity about journalism.
Sure. And not only that, you want to make the newspaper relevant.
Yes.
Not only so they would maybe develop a passion for being a part of it, but
Yes.
also to read it.
Yes.
We've gotten away from reading for our news a lot of times. And I want to grow young readers because being a part of the community means knowing what's going on in the community. And I'm not knocking social media. It has its place, but that's not the only place that you get your news. That shouldn't be.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a break and we'll come back and I'll pick up on that.
Okay.
And then the last part of the show, there's just so many little pieces that I wanted to kind of tag here today. And I am going to encourage people in just a moment here as I go to break to return to the last part of the show. And as you return, think about things that we've talked about today. And the other part of this, in case we forget to do it, I'm going to do it now. Contact Sherry Matthews and talk to her. She will appreciate it. We'll be back in a moment.
Providing fewer commutes, more backyard offices, and crystal clear meetings. Providing less, you froze up, and more presence in your presentations. Providing a better internet experience. Providing possible.
How can your friend save you money? It's easy. Refer a relative, coworker, neighbor, or friend to Star Communications. Friend signs up for high-speed internet service. Friend's new account is confirmed. Friend gives your name to our service representative as the one who referred them to Star. You receive a $30 internet credit. It's just that simple. And even better, receive a $30 internet credit for every referral that results in a new confirmed account. High-speed internet from Star Communications. Refer a friend today.
We find in life that some things just go together. Like peanut butter and jelly, cheese and crackers, steak and potatoes, and of course, milk and cookies. But the bottle and the throttle are never a good combination. Be smart. Be safe. Be responsible. Don't drink and drive.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The name of the show is We Should Know. I'm J.W. Simmons, your host. We're talking with Sherry Matthews, the Sampson Independent newspaper, right here in Clinton, North Carolina, covering Sampson County. Sherry, it's been a great conversation today. We're coming up on the last part of the show. There's so much to cover here, so many things that, as you just pointed out, I think we could probably start, a series and maybe do a semester or so, just trying to. But one of the things I want to kind of touch in on this last segment, and then I want to make sure we go with anything that definitely you want to cover.
Sure.
But is carrying that lineage forward is maybe what I'm thinking here is how do we ensure that what we find so critically important is all of those values that you hold dear, that I hold dear, which is the community, this community that we care about, these people that we've known for years, the folks coming forward, whether they're, as I mentioned, whether it's some of my grandchildren that's very young, or whether it's somebody that considers they're the next generation, or whether it's the X, Y, or the Z generation, all those kinds of things. We want to make sure that all of those folks are, should I say, taken care of. But at the same time, just like you, I think you made it very clear, you've got sincere, deep values of caring. And you've been hiring some people. Are folks out there that you can find that you feel comfortable with?
Oh, very definitely. And, we were talking just a minute ago, the relevancy issue. First of all, you want to be relevant as an organization, as a newspaper, to the younger generations that are coming up, because I want to grow young readers. I want those kids in the 4th grade to start understanding a newspaper as well as they do the social media they look at. I want them to understand the relevancy of the newspaper in a community, why it's important, why they should read it. But on the flip side of that, I don't have all the answers.
Right.
I don't by any stretch. And the world is changing. And I've brought in new people, fresh blood, as I call them, to help me take this newspaper, this community newspaper, into the next generation and into the next generation. And that's what has to happen, so that the legacy that was started with W.W. Castile and carried on through my generation growing up here continues for these younger people as well, because we need to be the community newspaper well into the future. Now, it may change, but the bottom line, the heart of it needs to stay the same. The integrity needs to be there. The love of community needs to be there. And the young people that I have at the newspaper now, they have that love of community. And it's growing in them daily. I can see it and I can feel it. And that's what's so important to me. I want to leave the paper in good hands, in better hands than mine. And I want to be able to entrust them to take it forward. And that's just so important. But to take it forward, they have to understand the role we play. And in my mind, it's a vital role. I am humbled beyond belief that I get to do this. It's the greatest job in the world. I've told everybody I've ever interviewed for a job, I've never worked a day in my life, because I go to work every day and I love it. There are bad days and there are good days, but I've never felt like it was a drudgery. Never felt like it was drudgery. It's never hard to go to work because I love what I do. And probably JW, more than that, I believe in what we do. Not what Sherry does, but what the newspaper does and what it can do for a community.
I think one of the things that you mentioned a while ago is that we have got so many issues that create contention and conflict in our society. The media itself, particularly local media, like the Independent and like the Bladen Journal and others, bring people together in that sense of understanding. Oftentimes we find ourselves, if it's social media platforms, if it's one of the things that folks like to get on for entertainment purposes, the difference is you are trying to bring them into the class and say, here is the objectives. Here's where we are. And this is the factual review because we have researched it. That makes a huge difference. And it takes a lot of pause. It takes a lot of mindset. It takes a lot of determination for a person to get in that environment and say, I'm going to follow this story through, even though I'm getting blamed for something.
Sure. And, the thing is, if I leave anybody with an understanding of the newspaper or with an understanding of community, and I would urge them more than anything to understand the difference. For example, we've talked about this several times, between what people call a press release or information that is released from the government or from an agency or whatever it is as a release versus a news story.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with a release,
Sure.
but it is a one-sided offering.
Right.
Okay. Any number of them you could take and look at and say, here's, any agency will send you a release on something that happens. But then you read that release versus what a newspaper coverage would do, where they're actually sitting in a room and covering the event. We just had a board meeting recently, board of trustees meeting at the community college. The college sent us a release. Nothing wrong with that release. Absolutely nothing. But it did not have all the particulars of what actually happened.
Right.
The people who spoke,
Yes.
the concerns they raised.
Yep.
So there's a difference in that.
That's right.
And it's important to know the difference. And when you're looking at a release, you're only getting one side. And Lord willing, in a news article, you're getting all sides, and it's been vetted so that we've looked into it to make sure this is accurate. And it's not just somebody saying it. It is true.
It almost strikes me, again, here I'm going back now to my academic world, but a quote that the late Stephen Covey had, and you remember, leadership, management guru, and he said, seek first to understand and then be understood. I hear you saying that. I had to throw that on there.
It's a good quote.
Yeah, it is, because I think that's where we're missing a huge piece of where we are in our society as it attempts to move forward. It continues to fall over itself in places because it don't understand.
That's true. Well, part of it, JW, is because we want everything instantaneously.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We don't want to take time to vet it. We don't have the time. We won't take the time, and we want it right now.
Absolutely.
And so that's part of the problem, is we don't take the time to look at the information. And so we look at a snippet here. People don't even know where they're getting their information most of the time, myself included.
Yes.
I mean, you go out and buy a pair of shoes and the clerk says, where'd you hear about us? You ain't got a clue, because it's on your phone, it's in your paper, it's on the radio, it's on the television. It's in your inbox.
It's not vetted. It's not vetted at all.
But it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So, and same is true of the information you get. You're inundated with information all the time. And a lot of times you're getting a snippet here and a snippet there. It may be coming from a friend's post on a social media, chat in a chat or something, but it's not the full story. It's not the full story.
It strikes me out. Also, again, I'll throw you another quote out here. An older gentleman years ago told me something, and it stuck in my brain. He said, if you ever hear somebody say, they said, he said, remember, they can be the biggest liars in the world. And that always struck with me. And I had a lot of respect for that guy. And he's passed and gone on now. I'll tell you later about that. But anyway, it's something that I think we're missing. It's somebody that we feel comfortable with, and they see you, and they see the Sampson Independent, and they got to know that you not only are vetting it, you're giving them a totality of the pieces that fit with that.
We're trying to. That's for sure. Every day we try to do that.
If the Sampson Independent has a future, I hear you saying this. You tell me if I'm on page. I hear you saying if the Sampson Independent has a future, it will be in the people that is driving that ship forward. That is true.
It will be in the people that drive it forward. It will be in this community. No community should be without a newspaper. A news desert is the most dangerous thing in the world, in my mind, because you have no oversight over anything. Look at areas where there's not been a newspaper or any kind of media, and you'll see a huge difference in how it grows.
Absolutely.
Or how it doesn't grow. And, if I could tell people anything, that would be it. To don't ever let go of your newspaper. It is a local business. It needs to thrive just like any local business does.
And that idea of being part of that business cycle with the Chamber of Commerce and other places that are promoting local businesses, makes you unilaterally important to each other.
Oh yeah, we're no better than the community in which we live, and we are just trying to be a part of it and to help our community, to help us grow, to help us all be relevant, and to understand what goes on in the community. That's what the newspaper is supposed to do. And just like your show, I can't thank you enough for what you do, because you help inform the public on so many places and things that go on here, so many issues that go on. It's so important. And I just appreciate what you do, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk a little bit about the newspaper and the importance I think it should play in everybody's life in their community.
Sherry Matthews, I'll always have a seat for you there.
Thank you.
And this show will continue. And I'm kind of in that same position you are. I'd like to know, when I'm with my Creator and look back, and the show's still going on, and I'm sure you as well. As we go to close today, I want to encourage folks to reach out to you. And I'm going to put you on the spot here at the last minute. I'll encourage folks to reach out to you and encourage you to finish that novel.
Thank you. I'm going to do my best.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being with us today. As we go to close today, I want to remind you the name of the show is We Should Know. We thank you for all the input that you continue to give us and have given us. This August month is 15 years for the We Should Know show. Can't touch the Sampson Independent with over 100 years, but 15 years is much, much further than I thought we should go. When Pat Dixon called me to task and said, how about do this? We look forward to seeing you again next week. Stay tuned and may God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of We Should Know with host J.W. Simmons. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion regarding this or any episode, please send your emails to weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. And remember to tune in every Tuesday at 2:30 for another informative episode of We Should Know.